There are moments in life when a single knock on the door changes everything. A knock that carries years of silence, resentment, and unspoken longing. He never thought he'd return to this house, and she never thought he'd stay. But that night, when he stepped inside, something between them shifted in a way neither could ignore. Michael Reynolds had always lived by one rule: no second chances, especially not with family. Growing up, he idolized his father, Richard Reynolds, a man known for his sharp suits, stern voice, and an unshakable sense of order. Richard wasn't affectionate, not the kind of man who said "I love you," but Michael respected him, even admired him. That admiration ended the day his father remarried. Evelyn entered their lives quietly, years after Michael's mother had passed. She was graceful, refined, and much younger than Richard. To Michael, she had always felt like a stranger who'd accidentally stepped into their family portraits. A woman who smiled politely at holidays but never belonged in the world his mother had built. And yet, here he was standing in front of the very house his father had built brick by brick. The late autumn air smelled of pine, the wind carrying brittle leaves that scratched along the pavement. Michael pulled his coat tighter and stared at the front door. His chest felt heavy, his heart unsettled. He hadn't stepped foot here in over a year, not since the funeral. The only reason he was here now was because of Evelyn. She had called him last week, her voice calm but edged with something that felt urgent. Not desperation exactly, but something close. Against his better judgment, he'd agreed. When he finally raised his hand to knock, the door opened almost instantly. She stood there, unchanged. Evelyn Reynolds, elegant in her simplicity, but there was something in her eyes, weariness mixed with a beauty softened by time. She looked like a painting that had faded under the sun but was still worth staring at. "I didn't think you'd come," she said softly, stepping aside. Michael hesitated, then walked past her into the house. The scent of cinnamon hit him immediately. That smell had always been there during holidays, when his father was alive. It clung to the walls now like a ghost, comforting and cruel all at once. "I appreciate you being here," Evelyn said behind him, folding her hands. "If this is about the property," he cut in, his voice sharp, "I already told you I don't want anything from it." She shook her head gently. "It's not about ownership, Michael. It's about honoring what he wanted." He turned to her, already bristling. "And what exactly did he want?" Her eyes softened. "Before he passed, he asked me to keep this house a home. Not just a structure filled with memories, but alive. He wanted it to stay full of life, not wither into silence. I can't do that alone." Michael laughed bitterly. "And he thought I'd help you with that?" "Yes," she replied quietly, "because he believed time might soften the distance between us." He wanted to argue, but there was something in her tone. She wasn't pleading. She wasn't demanding. She was offering something, perhaps a bridge. Moments later, they sat in the kitchen, the room his father had always claimed as his own. Evelyn moved gracefully, pouring tea into 2 cups. Her every movement seemed deliberate, careful, as though she were afraid to disturb the lingering shadow of Richard. She placed a cup in front of him and then handed him an envelope. "He wanted you to have this," she said. Michael froze when he saw the handwriting, his father's bold, deliberate scrawl. Slowly, he opened it. "Michael, I know you carry resentment, and I know I played a part in it. I never meant for Evelyn to replace anyone. I just needed a piece of joy again. Love is not betrayal. It's a second chance. Please, take care of her. Not because you have to, but because she's worth it." The words blurred as Michael lowered the letter. It wasn't just an apology, it was a confession. One his father had never spoken aloud. "I never wanted to come between you two," Evelyn whispered. "You didn't," Michael said, his voice rough. "I just thought accepting you meant letting go of my mom completely." Her expression softened, her eyes glistening. "Love doesn't erase what came before. It just makes space for what's still possible." Something inside him cracked open. For the first time in years, the weight in his chest loosened. "I want to help," he said quietly. "With the house. With everything." Evelyn smiled then, small but genuine. "I'd like that." In the weeks that followed, Michael stayed. He painted the walls, repaired the broken floorboards, and sifted through boxes of old photographs. With every repair, every small act, the house felt less like a burden and more like a place of healing. And slowly, he and Evelyn found a rhythm. One evening, he found her sitting on the porch, staring up at the stars. The night air was crisp, the kind that settled into your lungs and stayed there. He sat beside her, close enough to feel the warmth of her arm brushing his. "I used to think letting go meant forgetting," he admitted. She turned, her voice barely above a whisper. "Letting go just means making space for what comes next." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them wasn't heavy anymore, it was alive, humming with unspoken understanding. There was tension there too, the kind neither of them dared name. It wasn't love. Not yet. But it was something, an invitation to begin again. Michael glanced at her, the starlight catching in her eyes, and for the first time since his father's death, he felt at peace. His father's real legacy wasn't the house. It was this moment, the possibility of starting over, together. And as Evelyn's hand brushed against his, neither of them pulled away.